Hello, everybody, and welcome. A very happy Wednesday and midweek to anybody that is tuning in and that is joining us for this homework workshop today. It's lovely to be here, and it's lovely to come into community with you and be able to go through this journey with you. So, thank you for joining, and I hope that you'll log on and comment or contribute and just enjoy the workshop. So, guys, before we get started, I'm just going to do the announcement. So, if you could just follow on with me. Okay, the MyRehab Cafe private and unsearchable or secret Facebook group is the aftercare branch of the MyRehab Group of Dual Diagnosis Addiction Centers, formerly known as ARC. The MyRehab centers are private, inpatient drug and alcohol rehab centers that offer high quality healthcare with high quality outcomes. The MyRehab Cafe Facebook group has exclusive access to loads of content that is not available on any of the MyRehab public channels. Some of the content includes workshops, lectures, and support groups hosted in conjunction with some of the treating providers at the MyRehab inpatient centers. These treating providers are psychologists, social workers, wellness counselors, and volunteers who have extensive experience in the field. Group members also participate in movie and book reviews and, from time to time, face-to-face events. If you are not a member of the MyRehab Cafe, you are likely watching this on a public channel. This means that you'll have 10 to 20 minutes of access to this live broadcast before we switch over exclusively to the private and unsearchable MyRehab Cafe Facebook group. Remember to sign up and join into the MyRehab Cafe, guys, as this is where all the interesting parts of the live videos happen. The MyRehab Cafe is free to any person that has been through the MyRehab inpatient process. If you have not been through the inpatient process, but you want to find out how to join the MyRehab Cafe, please check out the MyRehab Cafe website, which is www.myrehab.com. If you want to participate in this workshop, please join in via video or audio via the link in the comment section, or leave a comment and I should be able to bring it on screen and I can see how I can answer that question or give you some feedback, or even if you want to comment to inspire others or share your journey, please do that. We welcome stories of hope and testimony and wisdom, and we welcome conversation and we welcome questions. So please, guys, feel free. Okay. If you are a MyRehab Cafe member and you want a higher degree of anonymity or confidentiality, please wait for us to end the broadcast on the public channels before hopping on or posting. So I will make an announcement when we're switching over. So there will be a banner that will come up, and then you will know that we are leaving the public Facebook group, and then we're switching over to the private group. And then if that's when you want to join and have more confidentiality, please join then, and I will let you know when we have crossed over. Okay, guys, so with that, let's get started. So the homework worksheet that we're going to be doing today, which will come up on the screen, and it's also available afterwards for download for those who want to go through it again afterwards. Which I do encourage. I encourage you to really make the most of these worksheets, print them out, take them with you to therapy sessions, with you to your sponsor, with you to your support network, and really just use these worksheets and these questions as a tool to grow and to find strategies and to just improve on ourselves and on our journey of self-discovery. Okay. So the worksheet that we're doing today is called "Is My Anger Due to Unmet Expectations?" This is a very interesting worksheet, guys. So I hope that you enjoy. Okay, I'm going to start off by reading what it's about. I'm going to go through the description here quite slowly because there's quite a lot to read. So I'm just going to go through it slowly. And if you'd like me to stop, or or you want to ask a question, please feel free, and I will stop and then assist where I can. Okay. People in treatment and recovery programs often say that anger boils down to fear. Fear that we will lose something we want to keep or that we won't get something that we want. Usually though, the things that we think we will lose or won't get are not life and death matters, and we often react as if they were. A good example is the road rage we've all seen or felt. People have killed each other over who was going to get to the next traffic light 3 seconds earlier. This seems to make no sense. When we look more closely at what's going on, though, we usually find that when possible losses or disappointments, we usually find that when possible losses or disappointments trigger intense anger in us, it's because we expected something different and are disappointed. Sometimes our expectations are based on what we feel is right and fair. These are what people call the shoulda, woulda, couldas. I should have, if only I would have, or I could have. Okay, so example, that the person in the next lane let us merge instead of speeding up to crowd us all out, or that people should be honest and considerate with us. Okay, so should. Also, sometimes we expect something just because we want it badly and convince ourselves it should happen the way we want it to. However, our expectations are often not realistic. And that's what leads to many old timers and Alcoholics Anonymous and other recovery programs to say an expectation is nothing but a premeditated resentment. Okay, I'm going to read that again. An expectation is nothing but a premeditated resentment. By that, they mean that when we form expectations, we are often setting ourselves up for disappointment and the anger that follows. Do you want to avoid getting angry unnecessarily? Is it a good idea to do so? Anger interferes with a person's judgment, making him or her more likely to act impulsively and do things that damage relationships, undermines recovery, and even weakens the immune system and leaves him or her vulnerable to cancer, heart disease, stroke, other life threatening illnesses. Okay, so this exercise will help you get into the habit of avoiding unrealistic expectations and thereby becoming able to be calm and at peace more of the time and angry less often. Okay, guys, so with that, we're going to get straight into the questions. And as we go through the questions, so we will journey further and further. And when we go over to the cafe, that is also where we start talking further, breaking things down further. When people jump on, we share experiences relating to this topic, and it really becomes interesting. So for those of you watching on the public channel, please keep that in mind as we go through these worksheets. Okay, so question 1, straightforward question, asks, please think back to the most recent time you got angry and what happened. So what we're asking in this question is just straightforward, I got angry with or I got angry at, and what were the events that caused me to become angry. Okay, so they're just asking you to think of something that's made you angry, what happened, so that you can use that then as the benchmark for the worksheet. Okay. So, with that in mind, question 2 asks, was the event that triggered your anger something you felt should not have happened the way it did? If so, what was your expectation and why did you have that expectation? So, this is a 3-part question. And so let's go through the first part of the question. So the first part of the question says here the word should, which is something I've discussed in my previous workshops. And it's also mentioned it's also mentioned above in the description. So should have, would have, could have. So was the event that triggered your anger something you felt should have happened? Okay. So that's the first part of the question. The second part of the question asks, what was the expectation I had during the event? What did I expect that was not matched that made me angry? In other words. Okay, and the third part of the question asks, why did I have that expectation? And for me, this is such an important question to journey with, for myself, to really help me understand myself, increase my self awareness. Why do I have certain expectations? Where did they come from? And so the journey that I went on with myself is, um, could these expectations have come from past experience? Could it have been a result of my upbringing, or a result of my childhood experiences? Could it have been from trauma or rejection? Could it be my own sets of values or morals that I have formed for myself throughout my life? So the reason that I ask these questions, and the reason that I think that this is such an important and beneficial question, is because if we explore why we respond with anger to certain people or certain situations, we can learn a lot about ourselves. So, what could it be for you? We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to share, please leave a comment. Okay. So these unmet expectations then lead to anger. Okay. Anger is often the emotion that is triggered by a threat. Okay. So, what is the primary emotion under the anger? Is it sadness? Is it hurt? Is it despair? Is it fear? Again, rejection. What was the threat that I felt in that moment, and the feelings underneath that anger? And then, of course, the question of how did I behave in my anger? And we're going to go through all of that as we go through the worksheet. So let me use a practical example here. And I'm just going to use one generalized example based on my own experience throughout the worksheet. Um, think of scenarios that, that for you could apply to your personal journey, that could help you go through the worksheet with that example, and just make it, unique to your own journey, to your own experiences. Okay, so an example I'm going to use here, and I'm going to quickly go through this before we cross over to the private channel. So those on the public channel can still follow on with me while I give this example. So an example that I'm going to use is, I got angry during an argument with a spouse or a loved one. And that's quite a common occurrence. It's something that we see often. Okay, so what happened? Okay, well, I was trying to address or express something to them about a certain situation, and they responded in a certain type of way, which I feel they should not have. Because they didn't agree or feel the same or behave kindly or whatever the case relating to the expectation. So, in effect, it escalated. The arguments escalated. The disagreements escalated, okay, because expectations were not met. Okay, so within that example, what was the expectation that I had? Well, it could be something like, I expected them just to listen to me, or I expected them to agree with my feelings, or I expected them to receive and acknowledge my feelings, or I expected them to apologize or apologize first. I expected kindness. I expected some affection or comfort in the moment. Whatever it was in that moment that was expected, that was not met. Okay. So then, what about this made me angry? So again, the primary emotions that, and we mentioned a few examples of those earlier. So what triggered my anger? Okay. Well, when expectations were not met, I then made an assumption or drew a conclusion about the situation or about myself. And so I felt hurt, rejected, invalidated, unworthy, unappreciated, ashamed, taking things personally, unloved. Okay, so even though it can be difficult, it is important to uncover the emotions underneath the anger. What is triggering that anger? And then we want to look at the behaviors that are manifesting out of our anger, and when it becomes a problem, so that we can develop tools and skills to navigate through this. Okay, so guys, I'm going to cross over now to the private channel where I'm really going to explore this and unpack this more. So for those of you on the public channel, thank you for joining. Thank you for following. I hope to see you guys sign up to the MyRehab Cafe. Some really awesome resources, and I hope that this topic, um, kind of resonated something for you, and that you can use as a tool to help you on your journey of self discovery. So, thank you to everybody on the public channel for watching. For those of you that are on the My Rehab Cafe, I will see you then on the other side. Thanks, everybody. Take care.